Hello everybody, I am Fuzzyface and welcome back to this Motorsport Manager career. We're in Japan for round 13, the Yokohama Grand Prix today. It is brake heavy, front wing heavy, suspension heavy as well. All those parts crucial. The brakes are worst part in the car at the moment. The front wing suspension not too bad, so we might be in for a middle of the road race here. The last race we did was in Russia, Sergei Sorokin's home Grand Prix. He was doing pretty well. He was right up there in the points. He was on for maybe even a 5th or 6th place finish. He was doing really well. He qualified really well, but he ended up crashing in that race whilst Esteban Ocon was in the pits, and that turned out really well for Esteban Ocon. Ocon was having a pretty bad race up until that point, but he came out of the pits in 4th place as everyone slowed down. When the safety car and the yellow flags came out, everyone else slowed down. It gave Esteban Ocon the chance. When he came out of the pits, he exited in 4th place, and he just finished the race in 4th place as well. So Sergei Sorokin's crash worked out for Esteban Ocon. With that finish, Esteban Ocon moved up into 3rd in the driver's standings. He is ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Kevin Magnussen didn't do too well in the race. Both Red Bulls crashed out, so Esteban Ocon moves up to 3rd. I don't think he's going to keep that until the end of the season, but as it is, hopefully he can do that. Where the brakes and the handling development centre are almost built in the headquarters as well. We've had the engine build finished that can go into the car in the next Grand Prix in Phoenix. If we come over to the engine here, it is listed in purple, 1,217.6. When it is listed in purple, that means it is the best part in the game. So we currently have, once this goes into the car in Phoenix, if Mercedes and Ferrari don't improve their engine in the interim, we will have the best engine heading into Phoenix. So we might have a decent Grand Prix in Phoenix and might be on for another podium finish, because this will be going in Esteban Ocon's car, whereas Sergei Sorokin will be getting a much improved engine because he will be getting Esteban Ocon's owned engine. As it is, we've got the brakes built. We're concentrating on next year's car. This one can get up to a 1091, and we've also built a gearbox that can get up to a 1205. So some really good gains that we can make with the brakes and gearbox, which is what we're going to be concentrating on next, in just getting those improved. We're currently working on the reliability of this engine, this 1276 engine that is going to go into the car in the next race. So yeah, Phoenix looks like it could be good, but hopefully we're going to have something decent here in Yokohama. It looks like it's going to be dry. It is a 42 lap race here, so the lap times I think are pretty quick around this Japanese track. But anyway, we're going to accept P and C, and we're going to skip over qualifying. We're going to skip over practice as usual, and we'll be back for qualifying in a second. So here we go with the first qualifying lap. Perfect and overheated on the brake temps for Sergei Sorokin. Ocon is possibly going to do the same. He gets perfect and overheated again. We've seen pretty quick in practice. Sorokin out-qualified his teammate as well on the last Grand Prix. Stroll, who sits in for Sorokin in practice, seemed pretty quick as well, getting himself into the top 10 in practice. Obviously, it doesn't always carry over, but Sorokin manages to go quicker than the Haas and the Sauber here in the early going. He's quicker, and Ocon goes quicker than a Red Bull and is up in 7th place. So let's just let all the other cars finish their first lap. We've got a little bit of rain here coming, which is going to affect these cars that come out early into the qualifying session, do their second run really early. But we're currently 9th and 12th. There's a couple of places we could possibly pick up towards the end of the session. So here we are about to do the second qualifying lap. The setup, the temperature's not as good for Sorokin this time round. It's going to be about the same for Ocon, it looks like. So hopefully we can improve here. We've got Carlos Sainz in our sights. Maybe Ocon can get above, maybe Van Dorn and Raikkonen for a really good qualifying session here. So Sorokin's quicker over that first sector. Ocon, meanwhile, we're still waiting for his first sector. I'm guessing we're seeing some real big improvements with the cars at the moment, because all those parts that we put into the car in Milan, we've actually managed to get all of those fully upgraded. Sorokin goes slower in the second sector. He goes slower on the lap overall, although Ocon's still quicker at the moment. Doesn't look like he's got the pace to go any quicker than 9th. He holds on to 9th. Rosenquist in the Renault manages to go a little bit quicker than Sorokin. I don't think we're going to be beaten out here, so we finish qualifying in 9th and 13th. Not too bad overall there for us. So here we go with the grid for the 2019 Japanese Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton on pole position. Valtteri Bottas beating his teammate Sebastian Vettel for once here in the Ferrari. Vettel is 3rd. Kevin Magnussen 4th on the Mercedes. I don't think he's beaten his teammate Lewis this season. Maybe just once. I think he was 2nd. Maybe Lewis was 4th in one race. Danny Rick 5th ahead of Kimi Räikkönen, doing pretty well in that McLaren. Kimi Räikkönen's stats have been dropping as the season goes on. It's good to see him up there in 6th place in that McLaren. His teammate Stoffel van Dorn just behind him in 7th, Carlos Sainz 8th in the Haas. Esteban Ocon pretty decent from him, 9th place. Nico Hulkenberg 10th in the Renault. Max Verstappen with whiplash is 11th in the Red Bull. Rosenqvist 12th, who just beat our guy Sergei Sorokin, who's 13th. Perez on form here, 14th in that Force India. Pierre Gasly 15th in the Toro Rosso. The Haas of Roman Grosjean 16th. Nikita Mazepin 17th. Charles Leclerc 18th in the Sauber. Marcus Ericsson 19th. And Billy Johnson in the second Toro Rosso, all the way down in 20th. As you can see, we've got Inters on. It is raining here. Just stop here. It is raining here. It's going to be raining pretty heavily around about lap 5 or so, which is why we're in full on attack mode on the tyres. We can get through this tyre pretty quickly. We're going to have a quick stint on the wets and then maybe back to the inters. I don't think it's going to be beneficial holding off this intermediate tyre. There is about, it's quite a while that the wet tyre is going to be there, maybe about 6 or 7 laps, so it's going to be beneficial. But here we go, the red lights are on. And the red lights go out and this race is underway, so hopefully we can keep hold of our positions here. So we're currently in 9th with Ocon. Sorokin's dropped down to 14th. He's let Max Verstappen in front of him there, obviously. Not too bothered about that, although Sorokin's back to 13th. Does someone run wide? Was it someone run wide? They've got Roman Grosjean who's dropped, and Van Dorn's dropped right down the order, so I'm guessing Van Dorn ran really wide at some point there. Ocon is up into 8th place, I'm guessing because of Van Dorn running wide. Yes, it must be. So this rain is just about right for the inters at the moment. It's going to get a little bit heavy, then ease off, and then we're going to have a period where we can get onto the full wet tyres. So we're just waiting for that position at the moment where we can get onto those full wets. As it is, Sorokin still 14th. Ocon set the quickest third sector over the whole of that first lap there. He's showing some great pace in this sort of upgraded Williams car as we've upgraded the performance. Speaks well to when he's going to get this new engine for the next race, the best engine in the game. He's currently battling with Kimi Räikkönen. Can he make this move stick? It doesn't look like it's going to be a get, but he's got the inside on this corner. Moves across and grabs the inside as well. Moves himself up into 7th. An amazing start from Esteban Ocon. Sorokin is now 11th place, currently just running behind Felix Rosenqvist. It looks like he might have the speed, although he runs wide around that corner, allows Roman Grosjean to run on him. And it looks like Sorokin's lost that pace. He's not going to recover as Verstappen's fallen back as well, down into 13th place. His tyres are getting a little bit too hot, but I think it's just worth pushing them. They're not fully all the way into the hot zone yet. We can just keep going like this. The other cars are holding off on neutral at the moment. Maybe we should like just conserve for one lap, and then the lap after this we'll get pushing once again, just about as the rain's about to stop. So if we go this one extra lap, we just conserve, hold off for these tyres a little bit, maybe hold off a little bit more with Sorokin, try and cool them down a little bit, and hopefully we're not going to lose too much ground. And then once they've cooled down a little bit, we can put them back into full on attack mode as the rain sort of starts to come back. So if we just run now, we're not losing that much time over that first lap, are we? What are we doing? We're actually quicker this lap in full on backup mode. So if we come across the line now, and we'll get back into attack mode because we're just out of the red zone. If we get back to attacking now, we should be able to close this gap to Carlos Sainz in front of us. He's currently 7 tenths in front of us. Are we starting to get back at him? Yes, we are. We're starting to close this gap. Are we going to be able to catch him as this heavy rain now starts? It's going to last for a while, up until about lap 10. We've seen some cars already come in for the wet tyre. The track is not quite right for wet tyres at the moment, as you can see. It's around about 75% wet that the wet starts to take better effect on the track rather than the intermediates. We start to see other cars dive into the pits early, a little bit early for these wet tyres. They're not quite there yet. I think it's going to get to the point after this one lap though that we can get onto the wet tyre. So if we get onto it here a lap after, and this just says we've got risk there, that's just because of the guy that's fixing parts. Obviously we're not fixing any parts here, so it's not really a risky pit stop. I think we can get both cars in and out of the pits here. Did I actually put the wet tyres on Esteban Ocon's car? We'll just switch here. I wish there was some sort of little graphic that shows you what changes you've got lined up in the pit stop. I sometimes do that. I just forget whether I've actually done it because I go ahead and concentrate on something else. We've got a lot of cars that came in for this wet tyre. They're actually a lot slower, and the wet track is just about honed in at the moment. We're actually gaining over the car behind us at the moment. On this intermediate we are 3.2, 3.5, so a little bit quicker here, so we've got a good chance, especially with our pit stop being really quick. So Ocon is out without any mistakes. Sorokin's out without any mistakes. Ocon is up into 5th place here. And we're just going push mode on both these tyres. Sorokin came back out 9th place there. Just where are we going to want to get back onto the intermediate tyres? It looks from around about maybe lap 13, 14, we can get back onto the intermediates. So we only really need to go about 6 or so laps with this. So we can actually just get pushing on this tyre as well in the early going. Try and open up a little bit of a gap on where we're just currently sat at the moment. We'll just keep the fuel running in high mode here. So around about lap 13, 14 is all we need to get to on this wet tyre, although then that intermediate tyre that we come in for has to go a long way, so we're going to have to do a stint on the intermediate, pit a stint on the intermediates before we can even get onto the wet, or until we can even get onto the dry tyre. So is it worth? It looks like the rain is going to stop about lap 28, so if we can get to maybe lap 15, we will be running on the wet tyre a little bit too long, but if we can get to around about lap 15, go a little bit longer, it saves us a pit stop. We're going to lose time on the wet tyre, but then that would come back later on in the Grand Prix in that we won't have to make another pit stop for intermediate. So maybe that is what we're going to chase down here. So we're just going to go high mode instead of full on attack mode here. Just make sure we can stretch out to that point, and we'll save some fuel as well, just for when we are going into the pits. We've got some fuel to try and open up the gap as well. But as it is 5th place, we're only running behind the Red Bull, 1 Red Bull, 2 Ferraris and a Mercedes in front of us, and Sorokin just doing really well himself, up into 9th place. He's got Max Verstappen behind him, who's not really catching him at the moment, although we say that, and he starts to claw this gap back. No, he doesn't. He starts falling behind as well, so it looks like we're holding off here. The track's still really hot. It's still 23 degrees out on track at the moment, so these tyres still heating up here. We just want to go to about lap 12 before we actually start pushing them all out, so if we can cool these down a little bit. As it is, we've got a gap in front and behind us, so if we just cool these tyres down for a little bit in this Grand Prix, we can get back to pushing all out in a couple of seconds or in a couple of laps even. So if we just keep pushing like this, we're going to be able to get back into the optimum temperature zone and then have a really good couple of quick laps on this tyre. As it is, we're falling behind. We're not really bothered about the 4 cars in front of us. We're still doing 112s. We're about a second behind these, and we see Magnussen in that Mercedes catching up to us pretty quick. But obviously, if we go back up for the rest of this lap, and then we can just go full overtake mode without the worry of the tyres overheating and losing any time. Maybe we might even have to get Sorokin up there a little bit quicker, because Max is closing up this gap pretty quickly. So Sorokin's going to switch back here into attack and going to high mode on the fuel. I don't know if he's got the pace to get in front, and we see K-Mag as well coming back at Esteban Ocon, so we're going to get pushing here as we finish that lap. Are we going to be able to go any quicker here? We were 5 tenths down on that last lap over the previous one. Can we go quicker this lap? 3 tenths on that first sector, and there we go, even quicker for Sorokin as well. So just see what sort of lap times we're doing here. We don't seem to be pulling away from Kevin Magnussen. That Mercedes, just a beast still at the moment, even with our upgraded engine and the real good rear wing that we've got. All the other parts in that Mercedes are top notch. We're still only just keeping that 1 second gap from Max Verstappen as well. But we're just going to keep pushing it. It looks like everyone else is going to stretch these wet tyres out as long as they can. Yeah, maybe about lap 16, 17 would work out for us as well. We should be able to get this wet tyre there as well. The wet tyre can go all the way down to 0% before it starts losing performance. Our last lap was a 110.4, quicker than pretty much everyone else, a 110.4 as well from Sorokin. Yes, we know the tyres are overheated now, Sorokin, but there's no point trying to cool them down. We'll just keep running in overtake mode here, in attack mode. And we're up into 3rd. We started seeing some cars coming for the intermediate, so it might be a little bit too early for them. They're going to have to go a long way on that intermediate tyre, up until about lap 28, although the rain could just about stop there. So are we sort of losing time? Who's come out of the pits? We see Kevin Magnussen, 32 seconds behind. When's he actually going to get out of the pits? He's out of the pits now, so he's 33.9. So if we look at that, 34 seconds, about 34 seconds behind at the moment. Is he actually gaining time on Vettel at the front? So is the intermediate tyre better? Yeah, the intermediate tyre is better to be on here. He's gaining time on Sebastian Vettel out front. Is he 33.9? Is he still gaining here? We've got a little bit of time to decide. 33.8. Yeah, I think we could get the intermediates all the way to the point from this stage, especially with Ocon. We can do that, so we can get him in. Sorokin can't run as far on this intermediate tyre, but I think we're going to lose too much time if we don't come in. So just to err on the side of caution, we might be able to stretch that tyre far enough as well if we just run neutral once we come into the pits and out of the pits. So hopefully we've got a quick pit stop. Sorokin, no problems with his pit stop there. We'll get him running back like that just to make sure he can stretch until the rain stops. Sorokin gets out 6th, but Raikkonen managed to get past him 7th place now. But Ocon is up into 4th place here. He's ahead of Valtteri Bottas through that pit stop. Just running that extra lap longer on the wet tyres seems to help him out a little bit. Sorokin's moved up into 8th place. I think it must be Carlos Sainz that he's managed to get ahead. Verstappen was behind him at that point. We've still got room to push with the fuel as well, as we're about 6 laps away from the halfway point in this Grand Prix. We've got a Ferrari and a Mercedes behind us. Bottas and Magnussen should be a lot quicker than Esteban Ocon. Sorokin just doing really well in 8th place. He's got quite a big gap to Carlos Sainz behind him, 2 seconds, and Sainz is falling behind at the moment as well. And 4th for Ocon. It looks like Bottas and Magnussen, they don't seem to be keeping pace. They're about a second behind now. They started turning down. Should we just hold off with our fuel as well? Just have a period in this race where we try to recover and wait for the dry tyres. So we're back on lap 21. Valtteri Bottas is trying to close this gap up. Kevin Magnussen has slightly fallen away here. So we're going to get back into high mode with Ocon. We've got fuel to burn here. We might as well do the same with Sorokin. We're just waiting still for that point in the Grand Prix where we can get back onto the dry tyres to finish the race on. I don't think we're going to be able to do it on the soft tyre compound. We think we're going to have to go medium. We do have the bonus, the 15% boost for the medium tyres, so that is the tyre that we're going to go on to finish the Grand Prix. But Ocon running 4th again. I don't think we've got any real chance of catching Ricciardo unless he comes into the pits early. If he gets off this into a little bit earlier than us, we're doing a really good job just hanging on to this tyre at the moment. Obviously the track's at a position at the moment where the softs, well, the dry tyre compound would potentially work, sort of, but there's going to be a little bit of rain coming back before the rain totally goes away for the end of the race. But 4th place here, so Sorokin's still 8th. He's got Raikkonen in front. Verstappen still behind him now, 3 seconds behind him, which is running really well in this race. We might as well just hold off here with Sorokin. And Esteban Ocon sets the quickest lap of the race here in this Williams car. He's now pulling away from Valtteri Bottas. Can we go even quicker here? Because we've done a really good job of holding on to this tyre. We can get another 5 or so laps out of it, which should take us to the point. No, it's still a little bit close. We're just going to hang on for a little bit. We're still putting in these amazing laps at the moment. We did a 105.4, almost a second quicker than the Ferrari of Valtteri Bottas, and a good 6/10 quicker than the race leaders at the moment. We're sort of holding off on their tyres at the moment because they're trying to stretch it through until the rain stops. We might even see some of these start diving into the pits pretty soon, whereas we still got a lot of tyre wear left to go, and if they pit, we can push this tyre all out and maybe pick up some places. It doesn't look like any are coming into the pits this lap, although we might see them pretty soon because these tyres are getting worn down. I can't remember what the intermediates can get down to. No, they're on 37%. It looked like they were a lot lower for some reason than us. Maybe it's just Daniel Ricciardo that's a lot lower than us. He's at 23%. So we might see Ricciardo this lap or the next have to come in early for a dry tyre, which would work in our favour. We are a long way behind him, 5.5 seconds. Are we going to see Danny Rick dive into the pits? He does. He's in early on that for that dry tyre compound. Depending on what he comes out on, he's coming out on a medium tyre. 16 laps left in this race. He might not even be able to stretch that because I'm guessing he's still at the same as Esteban Ocon. Maybe 13 to 15 laps, 15 laps if he's lucky. But yeah, we're just at a really good position here now. We start seeing a lot of other cars start pitting around as well. Raikkonen, which is going to work out for Sorokin, who's currently now running in 5th place. We're going to get him off this intermediate tyre early-ish here. It looks like the rain's going to go away after this lap. So should we get in this lap, we'll just follow what the cars in front are doing. But we're definitely going to get off this tyre with Sorokin, although it is a long way to the end of the Grand Prix here, isn't it? So maybe we would thinking about doing this hard tyre. and make sure we can definitely get to the end of the Grand Prix, because there is a long way to go here. Yeah, so Danny Rick definitely does have to pit again. So if we get the hard on Sorokin here, maybe even start an extra lap just to make sure he can do that. So if we cancel this pit stop here, we should be able to run easily another lap or so with this intermediate tyre. Hamilton comes into the pits as well. He's gone for the hard tyre. So it looks like we're definitely going to have to do the hard tyre. 16, there's going to be 15 laps left after this. We can't quite do it with a medium. Can definitely do it with the hard with Ocon. And there we go, the rain has stopped. So the rain's going to start stopping now. So we're going to get onto the hard tyre with the Esteban Ocon. Balance, hopefully there's not going to be any mistakes here, because we're suddenly find ourselves in a really good position. And in a really good position as well for maybe Ocon to get a podium finish here, which would be miraculous. So Sorokin's right on the back of Hamilton as well. Hamilton has got done his pit for that dry tyre compound, but Ocon comes into the pits. Now where's he going to get back out? He's going to be challenging with Hamilton. No, not quite, but he's out into third place. So Sorokin is a decent pit stop for him. He's come back out in 6th place as well. So we're just going to hang on for a little bit. We've got a lot of room to push with the fuel with Sorokin as well. He's got a long way to go. We can still keep going in high mode here. We've got room to actually push with this tyre as well, so we might as well push in the early going whilst this tyre's nice and fresh. 4th place, Danny Ricks managed to get back past us. He must have been just behind us when we came out of the pits, but I'm guessing he does need to pit again. The Ferrari of Bottas needs to pit again, so Sorokin's going to move up the order as well. He's not got enough of a gap to stay in front of Danny Rick, but obviously he should have a 10-second advantage on Valtteri Bottas, so if we can just keep him there, we could be on for a 3rd and a 5th place finish here in Japan. If we can just hold on to to the back of these other cars, stay near them, and we're on for a really good finish here. So we're back on lap 35. Ocon is still 4th, Sorokin still 6th, still hanging on to these positions, still Danny Rick in front, Valtteri Bottas in front of Sergei Sorokin. Valtteri is not really lapping anywhere near quick enough to challenge Ocon even on the softer compound tyre. So I'm guessing we're still on for this podium finish. Danny Rick does look like he does need to pit before the end of the race. He might be able to get that medium tyre all the way through. So Sorokin's going to come under pressure from Max Verstappen here. We do need to start recovering some fuel though with Esteban Ocon. He's under no real pressure from Valtteri Bottas. We're getting on to the back of Daniel Ricciardo here. We're about a second quicker than him. He's got a problem with his car as well. There's something failing in his car, whereas all our parts looking decent nick here, as they do with Sergei as well. So I'm guessing we're going to start seeing maybe Danny Rick come into the pits this time around. And there he does, he comes into the pits. Esteban Ocon moves up into 3rd place. And it looks like this is the podium all set for him here. Sorokin currently 7th. Max Verstappen has managed to get past him. Bottas is in the pits. Ricciardo has just got out of the pits in front of him. More importantly, he's got out just in front of his teammate as well. So that's too much of a gap there. 21 seconds is too much of a gap for him to come back at Ocon. I don't think Sorokin's really got a chance here, although we do have a chance. We've got a little bit better tyre wear than Max Verstappen. Maybe we could have a crack at Max Verstappen here if we just push on this tyre. It can go to the end of the Grand Prix pretty easily, so if we just push, maybe we've got a little bit of room in overtake mode, maybe a little bit here as we go down this stretch. We've got a quicker engine than Max Verstappen. Can we make that work for us? It doesn't look like it. Don't want to keep running in overtake mode too long. We're getting pretty close to this, but if we keep it... Oh, and we've made a move. What has happened to Max Verstappen there? He just sort of fell off a little bit. And we'll try and conserve this tyre. What happened to Max Verstappen there? Did he run wide? Did he make a mistake? He just fell way back there. But Ocon has gone into 2nd. Hamilton has pitted whilst we were concentrating on Sorokin. Hamilton has pitted here. And Ocon has moved up into 2nd place. An even better finish in Japan. It's looking really good for next season here. If we can just keep this going, if we get these new upgraded parts into the car next season, we're going to have a really strong challenger next season with the new Williams car next season. Now we're going to be in a really good position. 2nd place though for Esteban Ocon. This is going to be absolutely amazing if we can just somehow keep this. Let's just go. Oh, Sorokin looks like he's lost the place to Max Verstappen. He's pulling away now. Max in that much quicker Red Bull. We don't have much room. We can run high. Let's try go overtake mode to the end of the race. They're about to enter their final lap. Ocon though, he's going to get this 2nd place here. Just a few corners to go. Yeah, we know the tyres are overheated. Sergei, nothing we can do. You just try to chase down Max, although it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that. But Ocon, another famous race for him, another outstanding race, a second place in this Williams, considering where this car started off last season and sort of where it started off this season a little bit. But Sorokin's got a chance of fighting back against Max Verstappen here. Let's just give him overtake mode to the finish line here. Can he do it down the pit lane? No, he can't. Sorokin finishes 5th. That is still an amazing result for him. That was actually Daniel Ricciardo that got in front. He managed to get ahead of... He managed to get ahead of Max Verstappen at some point as well. So he moved back up into 5th place there. I think we missed that when we were just watching Esteban Ocon come across the line. But an absolutely amazing result there. 2nd and 5th place for our cars. Another win for Vettel. Hamilton 3rd, which should close the gap up a little bit more. Another 10 points. Clawing back, I think that puts Vettel now 34 points behind Hamilton. Ocon extends his sort of a little bit of the gap that he had in that 3rd place over the Red Bull drivers, especially over Kevin Magnussen now, who finished down in 6th place. So if we go here, scrutineering, obviously we know we don't put any risky parts in our car over the course of the season. But no one there, no Felix Rosenqvist, he had a time penalty. No, that Stoffel Van Dorn had a time penalty. Esteban Ocon, though, there we go. He's now got a 14-point gap in this 3rd place. If he can retain this, when I didn't think he could do, if he can retain that, and as we see, Vettel is now 34 points behind. Constructors, obviously, we've got this 4th place on lock. I don't think we can catch Red Bull. Sergei Sorokin not quite good enough to compete with the other Red Bull drivers, like Esteban Ocon's good enough to get himself up there in the top 3. But things are looking up, and it looks like we've got a really good challenge for next season. We're going to have a really good challenger. We're going to be up there challenging for that top 3, maybe taking the spot of Red Bull. I don't think we're going to be quite good enough to challenge for the top 2, but maybe we might see our first race win next season. We might even see that in Phoenix once we get this upgraded engine, considering how quick we are at the moment. If we can get that upgraded engine in the car. But 757,000 here. We actually got a little bit more here. Is that, yeah, it's just, I think, because of half of the bonus from PNC, isn't it, as well? We've got £757,000 going into the team. And F2, Maximilian Gunther won a race. I don't know if that's his first race, but George Russell is still winning the Drivers' Championship over Nick de Vries. Nobuhisa Matsushita in 4th. Fukuzumi in 5th. Artem Markov in 6th. Let's just take a look at the team standing. ART still winning the Constructors. Arden in 2nd, Prema, Dams. They've all still got a chance, because the last race of the season in F2, I think, is still double points in this game. But anyway, we'll just finish with the interview with Scott Goodyear for ESPR. So this interview, Sergei Sorokin is claiming, I just did that one, just saying he needs to put on it. It never really seems to upset him. And Lance Stroll is still listening to offers, and a hard-fought win for Vettel. So we've got the Phoenix Grand Prix coming up next time. We're going to be able to get this new engine in the car. We might as well do that now. If we put that in the car now, and we put this one in Sergei's car, why would he said he was still happy with that? So we might even need to even up the cars a little bit here. Although he's still 6% to the 12%. What are we going to have to give Sergei here? Should we give him? He's got the better gearbox. He's got the better rear wing. He's also got the better suspension. So he's got 3 better parts. Ocon's got 3 better parts, but I'm guessing just because they all seem to be around about the same gap between the parts. So why is he unhappy with the car? Yeah, I'm happy with leaving it as that, because they've both got about the same difference between the parts that they've got. For some reason, it makes Sorokin not as happy as Ocon, but I'm pretty happy with the setup there. But anyway, that is it for this episode. Leave a comment down below if you feel like it. Maybe you've got a comment on the drive for next year. Remember to vote in the poll down below if you haven't done so already. Give this video a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But anyway, that is it for this episode. I will see you down the road in the good old US of A for the Phoenix Grand Prix, and goodbye.